So here I'm going to be doing a ranking of all the films in the Godzilla Kong Monsterverse. This series kicked off 10 years ago with 2014's Godzilla, and we just had a new installment with Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. Such occasion calls for one of my classic ranking videos. This ranking will go from worst to best, so sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy. 2014's Godzilla aims to be a slow burn in building up to the big monster showdown climax. In theory, there's nothing wrong with that, except for how the human parts in between are just a huge snooze fest. The movie had some good stuff initially with Bryan Cranston's character, but once his character exits early on, his son takes the center stage as the main character, and then holy shit is it boring. In between, you get a distinct lack of Godzilla, as the Mutos are the main monsters you'll see throughout the main portion of the movie. Once Godzilla and the Titans emerge and finally have their big battle at the end, you definitely get your time's worth, but that doesn't save the big picture quality of the movie. King of the Monsters has the same problem its 2014 Godzilla predecessor does, in that it's amazing when Big G is on the screen doing his thing, but then it goes through the ebbs and flows in terms of quality when he's not there. The big difference here being that while I wouldn't call any of the human stuff in this movie great, it's certainly better than the post-Bryan Cranston scenes in the first film. Also helping is how King Ghidorah is a much better, more interesting villain to watch in action than the Mutos. And there's other monsters like Rodan and Mothra to add to the action and fun. The movie just does some amazing stuff with Godzilla at the end though, truly living up to the name, King of the Monsters, and just a decent fun movie overall. Also, that Godzilla theme song during the end credits was pretty fire. (2017's) Kong Skull Island was a prequel to the Monsterverse, taking place in the 70s, decades before the more modern-day setting of the Godzilla films. The film has a sensational cast of mainly actors from Marvel movies, but that wouldn't mean much if you didn't have some good characters in there. But the supporting characters are solid, and you can't help but love John C. Reilly's marooned World War II veteran, or feel the rage behind Samuel L. Jackson's war general. This helps balance out the parts in between the Kong and the other monster segments. While I don't think the action here is as great as some of the best of the other Monsterverse films, the overall movie is definitely better balanced till his final fight at the end with the skull crawlers. The recently released Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire isn't exactly 2 hours of the titular titans teamed up together. However, I did think there was enough about the movie that worked throughout. Notably, all the ape stuff I thought was great, and of course you got your visuals, the destruction, and the spectacle. Of course, once Godzilla and Kong finally get it together, the movie definitely takes on a next level of blockbuster fun that you can only get in a giant movie like this. It took a while to finally rewatch Godzilla vs. Kong. I remember watching the movie for the first time when it came out, thinking that the human parts were just dreadful, which I mentioned in my Godzilla -1 review. And after rewatching the film recently, I would call them now passable. Hardly anything to praise though, they're really just to kill time in between the action scenes. Unfortunately, there is a decent lull in action in between the two Mega Titan battles. Where you can praise the movie though, is when it does give you that Godzilla vs. Kong action. Naturally, Kong is f***ed when the battle takes place in an ocean environment, but man is that Hong Kong battle truly amazing. The scale, the level of destruction is just truly spectacular to watch. Even more amazing though is how Kong has still ultimately made Godzilla's even in a more even battlefield. Sure, the real world concept of Mecha Godzilla is silly when you kind of see it in live action, but you're having so much fun with the movie during the climax, you just go with it. What I ended up realizing is that even though I believe there's consistently more good things about Godzilla x Kong over Godzilla vs. Kong, I believe that Godzilla vs. Kong reached higher highs, mainly those mega fights. Those were just spectacular. And there was just something special about seeing the culmination of what the Monsterverse was building up to at that point, which is why I'll say Godzilla vs. Kong is king of the Monsterverse films, for now. And there you have it, my ranking of all 5 films in the Monsterverse. Not included in this ranking was the Monarch TV show. It wasn't included in this ranking because 1, this was for movies and it's a TV show. 2, I don't have Apple TV Plus, which leads into 3, I haven't seen it. Although people told me after watching Godzilla x Kong that it's actually worth checking out, I put it on my list. With the Monsterverse, which is 10 years old now, I believe it's been the only successful non-MCU attempt at doing a cinematic universe. There was proper build-up and setup to what people wanted to see, and that was Godzilla vs. Kong. Of course, we just got the sequel with the new Empire, and I'm sure there'll be another installment in a few years. So that'll do it for this video, this ranking of all the films in the Monsterverse. You made it to the end of this video. Thank you for watching.